This is a video about or analyzing how to play poke composition. In another video, I talked about this being the biggest draft gap so far. So I won't talk too much about the drafting part, but just to summarize, G2 has better range. They have a lot of disengage. They have in obviously Brown, Poppy, and Evia, since I was deceptively good, but more important is they actually have pretty good lanes. Like bot lane is even push to winning. Top is a old soft counter matchup, and then Evia has a pretty decent matchup into Ryze as well. The only thing they need to worry about is somehow K'Sante is getting incredibly fed early on, and he won't die to any poke. That is not so realistic. The other part would be Ryze in side lane. So side lane pressure would probably be the only realistic win condition for BLG. What I mean by that is you break the symmetry. You want to match Ryze as early as possible into Poppy, probably, and try to take a turret where you just give up a lot and overload one turret to create some imbalances. So the general idea, how do you play a poke composition, is kind of obvious. You want to obviously poke and then back off and kite backwards and wait for a new rotation. So just imagine you are here and you poke and go backwards, wait for new rotation. As a macro plan, breaking mid is the most important turret in general, but especially for this composition. Because BLG is kind of short range. If you take mid, you can play obviously both sides, but whether it's Rift, Baron, or Drake, when you have taken mid, you can go into the enemy jungle, clear wards, put up wards, and then it's uncontestable for BLG, especially because this composition was so bad. So mid is key. The other thing would be to keep status quo. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that in this specific instance is you in general want to match lanes because you have so good lanes. So, and obviously you want to take Drakes so you can actually force them, because when you get close to soul point, that is what you can force BLG to actually do something, because the first Drake, if you give them up, you can keep Ryze in a side lane. So these are a few key general ideas. And what G2 wants to do, they just kind of want to be AFK until every objective. Obviously, if you get play safe and get the push, that's ideal. But as long as you are AFK close till the next objective, and then you push, you will be fine. You just don't need to die. But this composition is so incredibly good for G2, and it's insanely winning. And G2 played bot lane Vayne pretty good, and now they're gonna crush it and do the reset as well. In this specific instance, because BLG lost the draft so hard, I think they would like to swap quickly. They need to break this symmetry. This is good, an early gank before a crab, and get the passive. Actually, quite nice that BLG. Obviously, they need to do something, but it was quite nice for G2. I mean, to get the Rise Flash, and now they just trade Scott. So now I assume BLG should push in bot and swap. So at this point, when they push and go top, we need to think about something. Should Varus push and match, because that is in general good, or should he keep the freeze? And in this specific case, both are actually quite good. Hansama uses the fact that he's gonna freeze, because obviously he will get ahead and Poppy won't suffer, so it's fine. He will just simply be ahead. And also Drake is spawning pretty soon, and grubs in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. So this is great for G2. But on the other hand, they didn't have much choice to swap. Actually, in this specific instance, you could argue that you could even put Ezreal mid. Obviously, Anivia would get prio, but she lost passive and doesn't have flash, so she need to be careful. And just put Ryze top to get an even better matchup. And Leona can rotate between mid top because they need to put pressure. But as you see, G2 got the freeze, and now they're gonna push it and take Drake. Actually, they should have thought about it a little bit more early and crash a wave or two earlier. And since I should have been back before, and they could take it literally on spawn to be more efficient. But that's a minor thing. But now they should do the Drake, and it's nothing you can do as BLG, even though Braum is low. Also notice that if we pause this area, since Cassandra is coming here, like in this area, and Eva coming down, Anivia will wall off here, so you only need to worry about Cassandra and Ryze and Kiana. But the point being, obviously Leona coming here as well, and the wall will be great, but you always kite up here. So you have two options. You can wall and try to poke Ryze, Kiana, and Leona that will come here and kite upwards, or you could collapse on Cassandra. But if you get Drake, you should just be out, and it's great. Not much. Anivia ult for slow, and then the wall. And now they got the haste, and it's time to back off. You kite upwards, and this is actually really good from G2, and I can understand Bin flashing in because the G2 use most of their cooldowns already, so they are stronger if they get the fight, and they kind of need to do something. G2 just got a Drake for free. And here, this is so bad. Varus missed the Q, or Cassandra dodged it, but this re-engage from Skewmont is so horrible because there are no way in hell you can actually win this. You used all your abilities, Anivia is almost and Cassandra doesn't die, and you just insta-die. So Skewmont played this horrible. When the Q misses, you should just back off in general. I think you should even back off because in best case you trade 1 for 1. Like Skewmont get Bin and Scuman dies. Because now they're going in and they will just get crushed because they use all their abilities, and autoing Anivia and like poke Varus is kind of shitty. So when you get the Drake, just back off. And this ends in a disaster. The thing is that obviously they are pro players, so they should understand how to play their composition. But this is actually an insanely big mistake. It doesn't matter because they won the draw so much at this point, but this poke composition is not a common LEC composition. So obviously I think like every pro player understand how to play it, but they don't execute them well because they haven't practiced it a lot, and it's not muscle memory. Because that engage would work with more or less every other composition, but because they are a poke composition, it doesn't work. So when you play, you don't have time to stop and think. You just play by muscle memory, and this is a clear sign that they haven't practiced this enough to make it efficient. This is the first big mistake, and G2 will keep doing a lot of actually pretty huge mistakes that if they had a more even composition, it would just be GG. So even though this game doesn't look even close, they actually played their composition quite poorly, in my opinion. A little bit extension and top. No, actually, it kind of stood with turret, so it was just a dive. Kind of curious how that started, though. So even though BLG is far ahead, they're not even close. And Grubs is actually quite important. Obviously, okay, let's take a look. Wait, what? How do you die here? Um. Uh. Hmm. Okay. Back back to the Grubs. The reason it's important because the real win con is Rise. And obviously because he scales, but side laning, and now he's actually fed, so they had one win con besides becoming incredibly fat, that's side laning. At this part, I actually truly believe BLG made a big macro mistake. At this point, they should put Ezreal mid into Anivia, even though Anivia get push, and put Ryze into bot lane, because then Leona can hover between mid and bot. So Ryze get a really good matchup, and he can start um, taking the turret slowly, because you need to create that unbalance. Because when Ryze is in mid lane and you kind of match, quote unquote, they can't touch the turret and they will just wave clear. So they don't get the imbalance. It's too much of a symmetry, and they have such a shitty composition. So Ryze should be in bot, and Ezreal should be mid, even though Anivia get the prio. Because in normal composition, when you have like a composition that doesn't is just bad compared to the other one, you would match. But in this specific case, it's really important that Ryze is bot lane, in my opinion. And also, Kiana could join Poppy and Leona, and with all that CC, at some point, you can more or less know exactly where support and jungle would be in proximity, because otherwise they can actually dive the Poppy, because she's not that tanky. And that makes the map so much easier to play for Bin. And also Ezreal that's mid. He also has a global with ult. In worst case, he can send it. But yeah, Ryze should probably be bot at this point. Because as long as Kiana's hovering bot side where Ryze is with Leona, since Sao needs to be as well. And then Bin can just go ham. Go ham into either Varus or Anivia, depending on who's going to be top. Because imagine Varus is top, and Cassandra knows that it's kind of no way since how is top side. Then he can, if the wave is somehow get frozen or something, he can just all in and kill the Varus. So, but yeah, next Drake is important. Look at the nothing gonna happen. It's a Braum. But yeah, the vision on the mini map down here, it's so important. And this Drake should be free. We should pause. Excuse me, because of the good waves, like wave state, they can push even mid, and the wards, they have full control of Drake. They have such a good vision, and because of Anivia, you can wall off one area, and then it's one less area because Leona or Kiana, one of them need to flank to get engaged, and because G2 is already at Drake, it's literally no way to actually contest this Drake. G2 is first, they are stronger, and at this point, it's a mistake for Bin to back. He should be top and push. You can't contest this Drake. You need to ship down the turret. You need to get a turret down so you can create an unbalance. Also notice this is really good by G2. So you have Braum and Varus here covering one entrance, or actually two in this case, like here and there. And then you have Anivia. And since you have nobody's flanking, like it's, imagine Leona and Kiana or somebody going here, it's too long because then Anivia and Skumon can collapse here. I would even like to see Anivia, and this is very specific, but since I'll even walk a little bit closer, so if they're getting flanked, they can simply collapse or kite backwards up here. But that's small and insignificant in this case because the Drake is just free. And I don't, yeah, okay, so Bin is actually going top. This is good. No, wait, what? He's TP. Huh? But this is so bad. Like, what? I I understand they understand their composition is incredibly bad, but doesn't mean you take like a 0% play. Go top and ship down the turret. If you get the first turret, at least you can create some imbalances and maybe win through. Like, oh my god, that was so insanely bad. Like, what the fuck? Okay, this is should be just G GG. But at this point, Rice really should match the Poppy. Look, like Rice is incredibly fed, and he needs to find the Poppy lane. Kiana needs to hover with Leona and try to get a turret. The Kiana ult was also so bad, but you can't engage, and the TP takes like a million years. Like G2 could kill them and recall. I mean, I understand it's desperation because of the composition as well, but I don't know. Rice, you need to go to the fucking Poppy. So now they actually got S into mid lane like I would like them to do, but Rice is the wrong place. I understand. You might even to have to give up like it's goal, negative EV goal, but you need to break a turret. You can't have status quo with this composition. Yeah, and now they're sending Anivia to match Rise. G2 have understood it. They want to keep the lane, the status quo in lane state. And now it seems like BLG is trying to overload. I mean, just a mistake. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't matter this game, but this is mistakes you shouldn't do. Like you saw Rice push, you don't see him. I mean, Kiana was there. No reason to even be up. The wave is coming anyway, so yeah. LeBron doesn't play too well this game, but he was pretty good in MSI and played pretty good after. I know he got a lot of flack. This is a side note, nothing to do with the game. Business dead. Yeah. Broken blade cheated. That was not even close. Okay, so this is the second mistake. Not this. This is great by G2. You got Leona low and you almost get a kill. I understand you want to press your advantage, but at this point you actually used everything. So now you should just back up and take the rift. Remember, what was the key? Breaking mid. You literally get a free rift at this point if you just back off. So there are so many ways to press your advantage. I understand you want some kill and then take the rift, but you are so far ahead, and all you need to do is literally to be AFK, and you win the game by default. So why? Let's keep going. Why are we keep pushing Anivia? This is good, but now you get bounced in, and you just simply give a kill. It probably doesn't matter, but this is what I mean. They don't have enough patience. You still get the rift, but giving a like free kills like that is so unnecessary. And also, if the composition wasn't so insanely favorable for G2, those kills would actually matter. Like this is the third time they just giving a lot of free kills. Okay, so what should you do? Excuse me. Let's see the replay. Just go a little bit back. Yeah. So they take Rift. This is important because G2 doesn't. When G2 takes Rift now, in my opinion, even if because Poppy pushed in top, Poppy should back. Bot is pushed in, and mid, like Varus could stay mid and just keep the status quo in mid. But top is pushed, and bot is even gonna get pushed because of the turret is gone. So if you just let bot lane stay, it's gonna push. But when you take the rift, Poppy backs, Anivia backs, Braum is dead, so he will go mid and protect Varus, and Sisao should back. You should take the rift, go 5 mid, and break mid. They have such a short range that if you overload with 5 people and they go 2 inside, 1 on top and 1 on bot, you break mid. It doesn't matter if you even lose 2 turrets, then you back off and push out top and bot. But you broke in mid, and then it's literally no way to lose the game from that point. It's a negative EV play gold-wise if BLG somehow get 2 turrets. They won't. But even if they did, it would be better to break mid for 2 turrets in this specific case. It's so important, and they would get it because if you overload with 5, the natural instinct or normal play would be to put somebody bot on top. So now we see the overchase, but G2 should, like, what the fuck is this? Why are we not all mid? Why are we in the jungle? Like, this is what I mean. Why are we playing like this? Just overload mid. And now it's downtime. You can't overload mid, and you have nobody top. And we just got a random kill. This is what I mean with G2 playing the composition so poorly. And it's not even close. Or in goal, but actually it's just GG. So that was the second big mistake. It was kind of random too. And also, if you overload mid with and try to break it, they have to show up at some point. I mean, otherwise, You just lose one more mid turret. But yeah, this is the whole point. BLG can't contest, and at this point, it should be GG. I mean, it's been GG from draft, to be honest, but yeah. So, is it anything happening more this game besides G2 just gonna roll over? Like, roll BLG over? I'm not sure, but I think this kind of proved what I want to say. So now you should have a general idea how to play a Pokemon position, what's macro-wise important, especially when you have such a good lanes. And breaking mid is key, not only in a Pokemon position, but it's even more important than, because usually you don't have such a big draft gap when you have get a Pokemon position, so you actually need to play it properly. And G2 did not, and the game was still not close. So hope you enjoy, and give a like if you enjoyed it or it helped.